This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 1100 of Horse Tip Daily, your almost everyday morsel of helpful hints, useful facts, and practical techniques for horse folks. Brought to you today by Kentucky Performance Products. Greetings, horse people. Coach Jen here, and thanks for tuning in to Horse Tip Daily. Today's tip is an excerpt from the monthly Certified Horsemanship Association episode on Horses in the Morning. Tara Reime from Manitoba, Canada, joins show host Christy Landwehr to talk about using ground poles to improve balance for horse and rider. And then I'll jump in with my own bonus tip. And we'll get right to our tip after this from Kentucky Performance Products.
She had waited all her life for this moment, dreaming about it since she was 10 years old. The trailer ramp touched the ground. He whinnied as she backed him out, swinging his head around to get a good look at his new home. His coat gleamed in the sun. Her love had arrived. She was breathless. He was beautiful. She could hardly wait to tack him up and start off on what she was sure would be the best times of her life. This love story is brought to you by Contribute, providing essential omega-3 fatty acids that help maintain low inflammation levels throughout your horse's body. The horse that matters to you matters to Kentucky Performance Products. Call 859-873-2974 or visit kppusa.com to order today.
What other exercise would you like to kind of end today with that's really important to you when it comes to balance, whether it's that walk, trot, canter, jog, lope if you're riding Western, whatever the case may be? What one would you really like to leave us with today that's important to you?
Well, I think and it depends whether you're a beginner student or that you are, a trainer trying to work with your horses, because that makes a difference. I know that if I would say as somebody that's improving the balance of the horse, I would do lots of bending, lots of turns, lots of ground rails to be able to maintain that frame and that rhythm. So pole work is excellent, and in fact, that is great for riders to develop their seat. And so we often in our lessons have ground poles all over the arena so that they not only have focus points, but also that they can work on that balance as they go over the poles and maintaining that rhythm. It just adds a little degree of difficulty. And they can be single poles even. Don't have to do, a whole long series of poles. Definitely you can progress to that. So I would say that's something that people can do at home, and they'll know whether it feels right or not. If the horse breaks gait or flips their head, that that you don't have balance, or if they speed up or slow down. So pole work will be an excellent kind of test for yourself to see if you can do that as a rider and as a horse team together.
That's really good. And like you said, just scattered throughout, so not like a series of them all in a row. And would you recommend doing all three gaits over those poles?
Absolutely, you can. The most difficult is the jog or trot, definitely. I find that the single poles in the lope or canter, the horses actually just, at least ours, they just go over it and it's no big deal. And in that stride, they're already stretching out. So it doesn't give as much up or lift through the horse to throw the rider off balance. So I would say that the canter or lope, even though riders often are intimidated by it, it's actually not as challenging for them. So I would say the jog or trot is definitely what you could spend most of your time doing over the ground poles.
It's a really good idea. And then what's fun about that, we often talk about on this show, it's great to have some arena time or pasture time or whatever you have with your individual horse, but then you can apply all this stuff outside of the arena, because now these poles that you're using inside the arena become the log on the trail, or the bridge that you're practicing in the arena becomes the actual bridge out on the trail. So all of those things are really good to do some cross training. So what is your overall takeaway lesson when it comes to balance, and kind of an overall sum it up for today's show? So Tara, how do people find you? If they want to know more and hunt you down, how do they find you?
So we have our website, cloud9ranch.ca, definitely on Facebook as well under Cloud9 Ranch or Tara Reime, and we also have the CHA Region 2 Facebook page. So there's those different ways that they can contact us.
There you go. And some notes on ground poles. An inexpensive way to create ground poles is using landscape timbers. They make ground poles, and because they're only 8 feet long instead of the 10 or 12 like typical jump rails, that makes them easy to work with, and they're flat on 2 sides, so they're less prone to rolling when horses bump them. Yet, the 2 rounded sides make them safe for trotting over rather than having sharp edges like a 4x4. So there you go. The Horse Radio Network and the Horse Radio Network hosts are not responsible for statements of guests or their opinions. Use your own judgment when listening to the tips provided by the experts on Horse Tip Daily.